The race to reform health care might seem like a marathon, but along the way, lawmakers have been jumping one hurdle after another. The highest one of all could be the public option, a government-run health insurance program. It appears likely the House will pass a bill which includes the so-called public option, but the part of the bill would face much more opposition in the Senate. Let's talk about it with Jeff Nussbaum, a former speechwriter for Vice Presidents Al Gore and Joe Biden. Mark Thiessen is a former speechwriter for President Bush. Welcome to both of you.
Thanks.
Mark, would you agree that at this point President Obama really has a bigger battle within his own party than he does with, or a bigger problem, I guess, within his own party? I mean, he's got Democrats who want the public option, Democrats who don't. Republicans seem much more unified.
That's exactly right. The Republican Party is united. The Democrats are divided. You have some Democrats who will not vote for a health care bill that doesn't have a public option. And then you've got all these moderate Democrats that were elected in Republican-leaning districts in an unusual election year last year, who know that a public option will be the death panel for their congressional careers. And he's giving them nothing to vote for. So he's stuck in a bind between these two factions. There's ways legislatively to get the public option passed. What they'll do is they'll pass a bill without the public option initially, get the 60 votes to cut off debate, and then they'll do it as an amendment, and then you only have to have a simple majority. So they can use legislative jiu-jitsu to get it passed, but they're going to pay for it at the polls if they do.
Jeff, if something like that were to happen, I mean, do you see that as the possible scenario?
It is a possible scenario, but I think there are now two goals going on. There are two things that legislators are working towards. One is a policy goal of improving health care and getting greater coverage, and now there's a political goal as well. And for all members of Congress, which is they're too deep into this, they've spent too much time. They need to save some face here. They need to get something done. And so I think what you'll see is they'll take it away from the term public option, which has become like this toxic term. It's like hitting the goalie in hockey. It's just the immediate way to start a fight. And instead, they're going to take it to the goals of a public option. And what are the goals of a public option? Keeping costs down, keeping insurance companies honest, making sure people have choices. And there are ways, yes, there's legislative jiu-jitsu, but there are ways of achieving those goals that don't actually go under the name of a public option.
But public option, that term was tested with focus groups. I mean, you know, when the president trotted that out, that was very carefully crafted language. You say that's become a poison pill?
It's become a difficult term, but what the interesting thing is people are sort of wary about too much government going on in too many areas in the financial sector, and so public options become a little more toxic. What's interesting is, when do you need public options in things? When the market has failed. And with 46 million uninsured Americans, with costs doubling, premiums doubling every 10 years, the market has failed. And what's interesting is now people are skeptical of government in the one place where government actually works. I mean, if you look at who has decent insurance in this company, it's seniors who have Medicare, it's veterans who have the VA system.
Yeah, and
so the government can get this right.
It's also members of Congress. They have great insurance.
Exactly.
They're going to... Jeff, they're going to cut Medicare in order to pay for this thing. Which, when you have a public option, the way you pay for public option is by increasing taxes and cutting services. And this bill, the more people learn about this bill, the less they like it. You know, in this 1,000-page bill, things are just popping up that people didn't know about. This bill has a tax increase on autism services. Okay, 1 in 100 families in this country have kids with autism. Most of them pay for that using flexible savings accounts, which allow you to pay with pre-tax dollars. They're going to cap that at $2,500. So if you have a family with autism or other disabilities, if you have more than $2,500 in services, you are going to have a tax increase. The last thing we should be doing is paying for health reform by taxing families with autism.
No, what there are going to be is there are going to be provisions that make health insurance more affordable for young people who are less likely to get insured. There are going to be amendments. By the way, we're saying there's something in this bill. There's still 2 bills yet to be combined in the Senate. There are 3 bills that have been combined in the House. There's going to be an amendment process. If there are things that are truly egregious, you'll see those fall out in the amendment process. What's really going to happen is people get subsidies to afford insurance. People who need help are going to get subsidies, and they're going to see the
Democrats want you to believe that you can cover millions of people without raising your taxes, without raising premiums, and without cutting services. That's the lie of big government, that you can get things for free. You're going to raise taxes, raise premiums, and cut your services and ration your services if you do this bill.
The argument is going to continue for weeks, if not months. We'll continue to watch it. Thanks to you both, Mark Thiessen.